My Lords, we've been lucky to hear 3 absolutely first-class main speeches today. I look forward to a 4th in just a few moments. No pressure. In the last King's Speech debate in July 2024, I praised the government's ambition to achieve 80% employment rate by helping 2 million people from welfare into work. 22 months on, the figure required is now 2.2 million, meaning the target is 10% more difficult to reach. In the same time frame, we've seen unemployment increase from 1.4 million to the 1.8 million announced this morning, with those signed off with no requirement to seek work up from 2.7 million to 4.2 million. I'd like to focus on one cohort within these figures, the 960,000 young people who aren't in education, employment or training, another figure which has increased since 2024. The Prime Minister called the gracious address, and I quote, "a king's speech for the young people whose gifts lie in their hands and who work hard." And last Monday he said that incremental change won't cut it. For the million NEETs, there's a mismatch between the government's programme and its rhetoric. To tackle the NEETs crisis, it should have included a bill to ensure that our education system properly prepares young people for employment. It should have included a bill to reform welfare so it's targeted at those who genuinely need it rather than those who can work. And it should have included a bill to help businesses create jobs and provide training opportunities, an essential element to get Britain working. To be fair, the government has said they'll respond to the Milburn review, but the hole in the King's Speech on NEETs betrays the government's view that new legislation isn't required to solve the crisis. What will happen between now and the next King's Speech? The rate of change is likely to accelerate, but at the foothills of the AI transition. British Chambers of Commerce research suggests that AI use has doubled since 2024, with a majority of businesses now using it. By the time of the next King's Speech, its use will be universal. Our labour market is therefore heading for a fundamental shift. Taking King's and Queen's speeches as a barometer of how seriously UK governments, both Labour and Conservative, are taking AI is revealing. Of the 6 gracious speeches since the 2019 general election, AI has warranted just 2 mentions, once in 2023 and once in 2024. And trawling through the explanatory notes for those 6 speeches, AI tells me that buses were mentioned more than AI, with 33 and 28 references respectively. My Lords, I suspect Claude doesn't realise how interested voters are in public transport, but when historians look back at this period, it's safe to say the AI revolution will feature more prominently. In fact, I would argue there's a strong case that AI should have been the key theme in this King's Speech rather than an add-on. To conclude, I urge the government to consider a strategic AI review on a par with the Strategic Defence Review to properly and thoroughly examine the impact and opportunity of AI. Such an approach is needed, not just to prevent the NEETs crisis from worsening, but to prepare our economy, our society and the public sector for the future.